friends. We're starting our final realistic fiction story today, and I thought it would be a really good idea to go over everything we've learned so far to make sure that you incorporate these things into your story to best help your reader. So, the first thing that we've talked about is the introduction. And we have focused on adding a setting, which is where the story starts, and also adding character details. How old are they? What are some character traits about that character? What do they like? Those kinds of things. When you're done with the introduction, we have started talking about the middle part of the story. Now, if this were a hamburger, the introduction would be the bun, the middle would be the big juicy burger, and the conclusion would be the second bun. So the middle is a pretty big important part in your story. So we've talked about how the middle always has a problem, and the problem can relate to a negative character trait that your character has that usually helps develop a problem in your story. So, we've talked about the problem, we've talked about adding step by step details and really stretching out what your character does in your story. We've talked about vivid words or fancy words like synonyms from a thesaurus that you can use in your writing. And we've also included dialogue, so making the character talk on their own or making the characters talk between each other. So, all of those things we have incorporated. And before I go on to this, our last step here is the conclusion, which we are not doing today. But inside the conclusion, your character will solve the problem in a real way. Now, this is all made up. The realistic fiction is a made up story, but it could be real. All right, today we are focusing on adding thoughts and feelings to your characters. Today, I want to focus on adding thoughts and feelings into our story for our characters. So, a thought is something that a character says in their head. They never say it out loud. So, usually in a story, the author starts with he or she thought, and that gets the reader ready to kind of focus on what the character's thinking in their head. A feeling is when you use words and details to help show emotion of a character. And it's very different from dialogue, both of these two things, because dialogue is what the character says out loud. So, by adding these two things to your story, you're telling the reader more. You're giving the reader a special view inside of your character of what they're thinking and what they're feeling. So, my example today is I have dialogue in blue, a thought in red, and a feeling in green, and we'll talk about these. So, one thing I do want to mention is when you are wanting to add a thought or a feeling into your story, it's really important and it's kind of easy to add it along with dialogue. So just remember that if you want to add one or both of these, add it near a dialogue. So add it near a character talking. So here is my dialogue. It says, I got a toy car, said Billy. And his thought when he got a toy car, he thought, I can't believe I got a toy car as my present. So it kind of tells you a little bit more about Billy. He's very excited and he can't believe it. And his feeling, it tells you in the story of he jumped up and down with joy when he opened that present. So it's telling you a bit more about Billy, and he is jumping up and down with joy. It gave that feeling of joy, but also some of the actions. When someone jumps up and down, they're usually pretty excited about something. Today, I would like you to watch my example of adding thoughts and feelings into my story, and then I want you to try it. In my example today, I'm going to use my character organizer with Sam and my realistic fiction planning paper to start my story. Now, you'll notice today I start my introduction and then I also start part of the middle. I'm talking about my setting, some character details, and I'm starting to introduce the problem. I stretch out my story and I also add some thoughts and feelings that Sam might have. So, let me read my story to you here, and I will point out the thoughts and feelings that I've added. Sam was a 7-year-old boy who enjoyed a lot of things in life. He loved hanging out with his friends, playing soccer, and he especially loved trying out different video games. In September, Sam's mom and dad held a birthday party for him in their backyard, and his best friends Danny and Joey were invited too. So there I talked about the characters and the setting. They loved video games just as much as Sam did. When Sam's mom called out, "Sam, let's open presents." There's my dialogue. Remember, it's easier to write thoughts and feelings next to dialogue. So let me read this one more time. When Sam's mom called out, "Sam, let's open presents." Sam ran so fast down the stairs to the backyard, he almost ran into Danny. So I didn't say it with words, but Sam ran down so fast he almost ran into someone. Sounds like he's very excited. So there is my feeling there. And it also says, "I hope I get video games," Sam thought. So there is what he was thinking. Today, I would like you to write your introduction to your story, including the setting and character details, and start a little bit of the middle part of the story. Talk and add some dialogue. Tell me what the character is doing step by step, and try and add a thought or a feeling or even both to your story.